It is too. Okay.
We're waiting.
We're waiting. All right, we're recording. All right, you guys. So good to see you all. I've missed you. I haven't been here the last couple times. I just have been. I was sick last week with just allergies from hell, and then I think the time before that,
You were just.
I was off on the side. Yeah.
You just got your shot.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So, tell you a little bit about who we are if you don't know already. My name is Lola Stardust. This is Silent as Stardust. And we've got Zeta Stardust with us, or she's showing up as Danielle. We are from Children of the Crossroads in Spokane, Washington. We are an ATC affiliate. And we do the Threads of Wisdom every week. And Threads of Wisdom was created by the Golden Thread Grove in Idaho. It is a teaching tool for your year and a day pagan basics or bacon basics. Each week that you attend, you will receive an image of the topic we discussed. Golden Thread Grove has requested that these images not be distributed to anyone that has not participated in a discussion on a particular topic. At the end of the year, if you attend all of them in a row, you will have 52 cards that can be used as a divination tool.
Wickedex.
The Wickedex.
Gotta catch them all.
All right. So we are on week 17. Wow, it doesn't even seem like that. We're going to talk about circle casting today. So I am going to share the image on the screen with you all.
So at 17, that means we're 1/3 of the way through.
Wow. Wow. All right. Can you all see that?
That's gorgeous.
Can everyone see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. So I'd like to have you just go ahead and take a look and, just let me know what kind of feelings you get from this. What emotions does this invoke? What do you see? And it doesn't have to be literally what you see. It could be with your mind's eye. So go ahead. Whoever wants to speak first, feel free.
Sorry.
Crickets. I'll go first. This seems very like the universe. It looks like a cluster of, what do you call those again in space?
What's the Milky Way?
It's the Milky Way. Is it the Milky Way?
It is a spiral-shaped solar or galaxy.
Okay, so it's very spacey. It's very out there in the unknown, which to me makes sense with circle casting, because when we do cast our circles to work in, we do in a tween space. So that kind of represents that. Anyone else want to?
Well, there's always the literal, space is vast, so it's kind of a, it's big, we're little type thing.
Yeah.
The thing I get anytime I'm looking up at the stars, is just we're all a piece. We're all part of it.
Yeah.
We're all stardust, as the song goes, but
we are Stardew Days.
What's in man? And what in your name?
Yeah.
But no, I mean, when there's the whole in between. I don't know if anybody read any of the books.
The what?
Anne McCaffrey, the Dragon Rider books.
Yep.
And the dragon could go between. That's what I feel when I'm casting my circle. That's where kind of I feel like my energy is. It's going between.
Mm-hmm.
Taking me between. So I'm tethered, but I'm not bouncing.
Yeah.
But I'm not there. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And that's why there's certain parts of casting the circle that are important to make sure that we have, so we don't float off.
And you also don't want to open a door you can't close.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else?
I saw it as when you cast a circle, you're like recreating the universe.
Mm-hmm.
This one actually got me really excited for this particular image with this particular topic because it's something that I don't think many people necessarily think of.
Yeah.
Is the recreation of the start of the universe. So when you're casting a circle, you're setting aside that space and time that's kind of like a representation of that first initial circle that was started. And circles and spirals are something that I've always really, really liked. And whenever I've kind of gone to look at other paths, if they're like, well, we don't cast circles, I'm like, well, I'm out.
Yeah.
I like
I don't
circles.
Are there's
People don't set
That-
boundaries.
oh, that's right, they don't. I
Because
guess like
they-
chaos magicians
because
probably wouldn't.
They want anything to come in that's available.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
There's
we
someone-
got someone.
When I look at it, I look at an emerging, one that is just forming, not one that has been established for a long time. Because if you look at the imagery on it, you can see on the tail
Hi, Sammy.
that stuff is still being pulled in, and so it is very new. It's not massively established.
Welcome, Sammy. We're just taking a look at the picture and what it makes us think of and how it pertains to circle casting. And I need to run to the bathroom really quick. You want to?
Okay. I'll do it. Anyone else want to comment what they see, feel? Bueller?
We
I
need
don't.
to have a little button that plays the sound of crickets.
Yeah.
I don't. It's hard. Like I don't want to just say something that someone else said, but I really what I'm seeing, and this I don't know if someone else said this, but is there's a lot of little circles. And
Nope. No one has commented on that.
okay, so there's a lot of little circles, and then but they all kind of contribute to this bigger circle, and I think that has a lot to say about how, I mean, it has a lot to say about a lot of things, but there's, the macrocosm versus the microcosm element of that. And then there's like what I really love and what speaks to me right now in that is that for Spring Mysteries Festival and for a lot of the things that ATC is doing online right now, you have your own little personal circle at home where you're doing your ritual and everyone has one. And then we all are contributing to this bigger circle that's beyond the circle that we're in. And I think, that and that also goes back to like we're part of this tradition that goes way back, and time that even goes beyond time and beyond location and beyond like all these different things. So we also cast circles of circles, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
So what you're if I can interpret it, what you're saying is all of us are part of a network, and each of us are little individual cells or circles in it, collectively joining the mass network.
Yeah, it's the hive mind, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Michelle, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, when I look at it, I see it kind of like as you have like that divine in the center.
Mm-hmm.
You have that divine light in the center, and then everything else branches out from that and surrounds it. And so the divine is the center of all things, including our circle, including ourselves. So that's kind of what I get from that.
Can definitely see that.
I also thought about this. So a lot of what we talk about in school when we talk about like like I'm in Ritual 101 right now, and we were talking about how like your altar is like a separate space, like it's supposed to be a wholly separate space, and like past the circle, we're elevating ourselves to like the ethereal realm and separating ourselves from the world around us. And like in the picture, you can see that like everything is revolving around that like divine source, like what Michelle is talking about, but it's also like separate from everything else around it. Like there is like a definite like emptiness beyond what is pictured, and you can see that. And I think that's really important when we consider that like circle casting is that like separation of the world we're creating versus the world that we're existing in.
Yep. It's the tween space.
Yep.
All right. Anyone else before I take that down and we'll start talking more about circle casting?
I wanted to say something. I don't know if this will make sense though. But when I look at it and when I think of the universe, I think of the universe is just so big and we're just a tiny little speck in the universe. And that's the same when we're, I guess, casting a circle because there is so much more outside of what we can't see.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think that's how I think it connects in
Well,
my
yeah.
mind.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And our circle that we cast is that's why we set up certain protections too, because we're basically a lighthouse or a beacon for things that are out there, the unknown, and they're going to go, hey, what are these guys doing over here? And that's why we're like, we are protected and guarded. You can't come in. Sorry, we didn't invite you.
The moth to the flame concept.
The moths to the flame concept, yeah.
But it's not, you can't sit with us?
It's it's Wednesday. You have to wear pink.
I said that to one of my students today because he wore a pink shirt, and I'm like, on Wednesdays we wear pink, and he had no idea what I was talking about.
Of course not.
That's awesome. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take this down, and we'll start talking about circle casting. Circle casting.
All the different things.
Move this back over. And notes. All right. So, so we've already talked about, we're casting a circle and we're erecting a temple. It's a space between the worlds where human and divine may meet. One of the ways that we start off with our circle is by sweeping. Why do you think we sweep the circle? What are we doing when we're sweeping?
Physically and emotionally and spiritually cleansing to prepare ourselves.
Sweeping away the bad energy.
I also kind of look at it as we're sweeping the positive in to the area.
Sweeping the negative out, sweeping the positive in. We do have the what to say when we go Widdershins, which is counterclockwise. One of the things I know that the ATC, they say is all things evil or malignant be, know this place is not for thee. Be gone, be thou gone, depart from me, and by my will, so mote it be. And then they go back around the circle clockwise or deicil and say red spirits and black, white spirits and gray, come who may, round and about, through in and throughout, the good stay in and the ill keep out. I like that.
We just like to stomp.
We like the stomp that they do. So right there it pretty much says keep good in and keep the bad out.
Go
ahead. Did you have something to say, Brat?
Yeah,
Brat?
Kinda. Trust me, I do live up to the name.
I know.
Or down to it, depending on how you look at it. Anyway, I kind of like I'm an eclectic, and I was taught by an eclectic, and we're technically of Druid descent, so we follow the things that we were taught. And whenever my mom taught me to sweep an area, whether it was like for a circle or for anything else, you were supposed to be charging that area with your intent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so,
Well,
like,
everyone does it differently. I mean,
Yeah.
there's different ways. Our coven, we sing a song and do it. And I
Mhm.
learned that from the coven I was in before. They had a special song that they sang.
Mhm.
So but we're all doing the same thing, just using different words or songs or however you want to do it. But there is no wrong way as long as you're doing it in some way.
It's the intent that matters.
Yes, it's the
So it's
intent.
charging the area with the intent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we always did it. It was sort of a silent thing because you were concentrating on your intent and putting that energy into the room and into what you're sweeping.
Yep.
So I know it's weird. It's just
No, it's not weird at all. What are you doing, huh? Oh, I didn't take these notes.
I know.
It was bugging you, wasn't it? There was a typo in our notes, and he had to fix it. I'm like, really? Because there's typos throughout all like that.
No, it was just the way
it was bugging you.
Yeah,
I know. It bugged me too, but I didn't do anything about it. So we will then basically
once you've cleansed the area,
once you or sweep the area, and then of course you do other things. People do different ways, but we
set the boundaries.
We follow the idea of the salt and water, cleansing the circle with salt and water and fire and air. To just add that extra, cleansing and making sure that it is going to be a very clean, psychically, energetically, preferably physically, but sometimes, I'm not the best housekeeper, so there's dust bunnies. We do outside. Sometimes there's dog doo-doo, but we clean it up. But it just needs to be cleansed. The most important, in my opinion, is spiritually, psychically, energetically. Make sure it's nice and cleansed. Is there anyone that does anything different and maybe not necessarily do the salt and water and the fire and air? Is there in other ways that, because like I said, there's many different ways. We use the traditional way.
We use herbs or spices, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like when we don't, again, it's just the way I was taught.
Yeah.
And being an eclectic, I like go, oh, hey, that's a cool idea. That'll work. And then try and see if it'll work for me. It doesn't always, but sometimes. But so don't use the salt inside. I do use it outside to set my circle. The salt goes around that outside. And then, yeah, but not until I've swept the area with cinnamon and or peppermint, depending on what I'm doing.
I like that.
It's you grow the leaves and you dry them, for the peppermint. And then after the salt, then we always sprinkle, because we're big coffee people. Used coffee grounds would go on top, and you'd prepare it, and that would be the prep. And then when you got into it and prep and then cast a circle, no shoes, no, but this is outside stuff. Can't do skyclad because the neighbors would be terrified.
Yeah. Well, we understand that. We live in a very
in the city
in the city, so yeah, we don't.
I live in the mountains. It's just that up here nobody has a fence. It's all hog wire.
Oh, yeah.
see what everybody's doing. It's just like,
Well, we live in, our houses are all really close to each other. So in the backyard, unless you have a privacy
Fencing, yeah.
fencing or
Yeah.
shrubbery, they're going to see everything.
yeah.
I like that. Sammy says they use sound and the cleansing smoke. I've heard a lot of people will use the bell
Yep.
to do that too. Yeah,
I've heard people using drums,
Drums.
to knock out the spirits.
yeah. My old coven. Sometimes when we would sing our, it was a song that was basically created just for our coven. We would do the drums too. So music and singing and sound, chanting is a way to help
They use
too.
cymbals.
Bell and cymbals. Yeah, yeah. So then we clean it. Singing bowl. Yep, I
That's
love
cool.
those.
Singing bowls are awesome.
I love singing bowls. I can never get them to. I need to practice on them. I love them. Excuse me. I got the hiccups. Ooh. Hello, hiccups. Okay. And then you want to make sure that I might be getting into too much of the, well, no, I'm not really getting into the ritual. Well, this is part of circle casting. Then you want to make sure that you get the bodyguards, right? You need the bodyguards to protect. So and this is where a lot of people use different,
Well, don't you got to cast your circle before you put your...
Oh, yes, you cast the circle. Sorry. That's right. Yeah.
You got to
yeah.
set your barriers before
Yeah, you got to set your barriers. I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead. Oh, cool. So with Sanskrit.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you actually do the actual cast. So this is what we use, and I know the ATC uses this too. I conjure thee, O circle of power, that thou beest a meeting place of love and joy and truth, a shield against all wickedness and evil, a rampart and protection that shall preserve and contain the energy we shall raise within thee. I do now bless and consecrate thee in the names of, and they have Lord and Lady. We do in the names of Pan and Hecate.
And you always start in the east.
And you start in the east.
And go Deosil.
And you go Deosil. So you've set your boundary. Some people we use a sword or an athame.
Indoors it's an athame. We have a small house. Outdoors we always use our coven sword.
Our coven sword. Does anyone use anything different? Anyone use wands or anything?
I've heard of people using wands.
I've used flowers too.
Flowers?
Mm-hmm.
We have we use stones. Rose quartz, and Himalayan salt.
Yeah.
Stone.
Nice.
And oh god, is it carnelian? The orange one, the
Carnelian.
protections. Carnelian, and those get placed in. But we start with north.
Okay.
Huh.
And
yeah.
But that's just the way I was taught.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's that's why we talk about these things. So the way what?
May I ask why you start with the east?
The east in our tradition is where
ideas start.
We use air in the east. So to us the eastern
the easterly winds.
The eastern philosophies, the sun rises in the east. Everything starts for us in the east.
The sun rising in the east. It kind of north or east is the variable. I don't know of any tradition that's like we start our circle casting in the south, but you certainly could.
I'm sure you could. Yeah.
Brett,
you had a ritual focused on that particular energetic thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah. The wise, I know they start in the north, but that's because north is
where your air is.
Is where your air is in the wise tradition. So they start where the air. It's the same concept. We just start in the east.
That's what I was going to ask you, Brett. Is where's your guys' air associated? Which direction?
Let's see. So it really depends on the ritual being done. Oddly enough,
Huh.
So like if I'm doing a, a protection circle, if I'm trying to anchor one place to another, then north is going to represent
Like to
uh, spirit, believe it or not. And where I'm standing is going to be earth under
I
my feet, the base of the circle. And then spirit would be north. Um, air would be never each east. South would be water. Boy, you don't when you're thinking about it, you can't remember. and then fire would be west.
Oh, okay. So that is different.
Yeah, that's a lot
But
different.
it's
That's
whatever works.
that's just but again, that's just if I was doing a linking, if I'm trying to tether two different physical places together. If
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
doing I'm worried about somebody and I'm just doing a find, then I am air because I'm searching, and then it would start north would be earth, and or whatever. It really for us depends on what it is we're doing, where everything ends up being.
And Michelle put in the comments, they have created a circle by joining hands. And
Mhm.
that's a really good way too. That's kind of what we do in our women's red tent group is we cast a soft circle by just connecting our hands and our hearts to each other. So there's all different ways to do it. So then you've created, and then what I was taught is when you're casting the circle and you're starting in the east, it's like you're zipping, I call it zipping up the mound or the sphere. You're closing it because for a long time I'd get confused about closing and opening because when we start our ritual, to me logically we're opening, like it's the opening, and then at the end is the closing, but it's opposite. And it took me a long time to figure that out. And then when it was explained to me, I've never forgotten it since, is that we are actually closing the circle. And like I was taught, if you would imagine it a sphere, almost like a zip up tent, and you want to close, you want to zip up that sphere which goes above and below, and you're zipping it, and that's what you're doing with your athame or your wand or whatever. You're closing.
You're closing off the mundane.
Closing it off to everybody else to keep it all in. And that's important to remember. Again, we have talked about some traditions that don't even cast circle or do any of that, but that's usually not Wiccan. From what I know, that's usually chaos magicians. Um, what I've witnessed, some ceremonial magicians. But in Wicca, in your traditional Wicca, whether it be Alexandrian or Gardnerian, which we do British traditional mostly, which is a combination of kind of both. That is important to make sure it's like putting up the orange cones around and saying you can't come in here.
When you witnessed the Satanists
Oh,
group, did they do a circle?
no.
Okay.
I was in a Satanist group a very long time ago. This is 30 years ago. I was invited to, because my boyfriend at the time was a Satanist, and I witnessed how they did it. They just pretty much welcomed whatever was in. But I don't know. That was a particular branch of Satanism. There's different ones.
It might be a particular. I mean, I guess they're all different, but I remember in college, first time around, I met a girl who said she was a practicing Satanist, and she said, and she was interested to know how we did stuff.
Yeah.
They did their circle differently, she said, but they did a circle too, because they didn't want, the whole point is you're trying to keep in what you want in and keep out what you don't want in. And I think it really depends on, it's just like with churches, it depends on which one you go to, what flavor it is, with, do you do the holy water? Do you do the genuflection? Do you, when does everybody grab each other by the, whatever and dance around like, it really depends, I think.
Yeah, and it's again, it's whatever you're most familiar with, but this is just a small portion of how we practice and
Mhm.
what we're passing on. And then of course you're gonna now invite the bodyguards. Some people call them the guardians, your elementals. Some people call in angels. Some people just call in dragons.
Yep,
the
the quarters.
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 Yes, we call them the guardians of the watchtowers. Is how we call them in. And of course, I visualize actual watchtowers in the quarters, and then you call in the elements of that direction. So of course, when we call in the east, we call in air, we call in the fae, the sylphs, and then we call in air dragons. We call in dragons in all directions, just whatever element it is. So we call in, and then we call in the air dragons, and then we also welcome in what air represents. So we call in intellect, ideas, communication. We call that into, so these elements will lend that to our circle. And then we move to the south, and of course we call in our fire elementals. So we call in the
salamanders,
the jinns,
and fire dragons.
And then fire dragons. And then we call in will, passion, determination, that kind of stuff.
Motivation.
And then the fire dragons. And then we turn to the west, and of course we call in the undines. We call in our water dragon, and we call in the emotions, deep rivers, oceans, that stuff. And then
mysteries of death.
The mysteries of death and initiation. And then north, of course, we call in our gnomes. We call in our earth dragon. We call in stability,
foundation,
wealth, permanence, and then of course the mountains and the ground and stuff like that. So again, that's how we do it, but
that's our tradition.
But
everyone's tradition is right.
Yes.
Ours is just
so
more right.
What do you guys call in?
Crickets again. Don't everybody talk at once.
I know. Does anyone want to talk?
I was struggling to unmute. So I call in the traditional like elementals. So I do like gnomes, undines, salamanders, and sylphs. But then I also do like I've done mermaids.
Yep.
For water. I've done I've been creative before. I get nervous when I get creative because I want to know like what I'm doing. But but I've done mermaids before because I've felt like that's a kind of like somewhere in between elemental and fae energy.
Yeah.
I've definitely called the fae before. I've done, but I'm really careful when I bring them in because I don't want to make promises that I don't intend to make.
Yeah, the fae can be kind of tricky sometimes.
I just don't make any agreements with them ever.
Yeah.
It's like dealing with pikeys. You never know what agreement you're getting into.
Yeah, sorry, I'm sweating. Go ahead, Sammy.
Stuff like that. And I've also done just like when you were talking about emotions, like there's some things like I associate earth with knowledge, so I bring in knowledge. With air, it's about what was it? This is stuff I got from Christopher Penczak when I was reading his book, but it was like earth is knowledge, air is like what's it? Like the will to do, like there was a better word for it, but
motivation.
Something like that. I can't think of the word, but it was because it wasn't like will, because fire is will, but it was like fire is will, but it was something about like actually doing it. Like air is like the like
Oh,
actual
sorry.
and water was emotion.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I think I'll have to look back into his first book and like find it wherever
Yeah.
it is. But it's the word he used for air like really kind of stuck with me.
I'm trying to think what that would be like. That's. What about you, Cassandra? You were gonna say something?
I was just gonna say I'm still super new at this, so I haven't cast too many circles because I'm afraid of inviting something in I didn't mean to. But when I did do it, I didn't realize about the guardian. So I'm glad that I'm here and I'm listening to all this. So
Yeah.
Very important to have something protect you. Like I said, I call them the bodyguards, and I know people some people use angels. Angels is not a Christian thing. People need to realize that angels are pre-Christian, but there are some Wiccans that believe that, oh, angels, that's too Christian. It's like, that's kind of not.
and now listening to this, it does definitely make sense. So I'm gonna definitely do that from now on. And yeah, sorry, I had something else to say and I completely spaced. Sorry.
Oh no,
No
it's
worries.
fine. Don't worry. If it comes back, you can say it later.
Also, just to add, because I feel like this angel's gonna get mad at me if I don't say it.
Yeah.
So, but I do often, not when I'm calling quarters, but like just as part of like my protection team, call on Archangel Gabriel and my guardian angels to protect.
Michael or Gabriel.
Yeah, that's our other coven sister Morrigan. She likes to call in those two angels, Michael or Gabriel. That's really important to her to have them. They're very good guardian angels. Brat, were you gonna say something?
Well, I was going to ask a question.
Sure.
Does anybody else use their spirit animal as their guardian? Because that's usually what I do.
I'm sure there's people that do, and I don't see any problem with doing that.
We have not, but that sounds pretty awesome.
That's pretty awesome.
That way I don't. Well, that way I'm not calling in randoms.
Yeah.
As my mom called it, she referred to them. She said, "You don't call in randoms. You call in your protector."
Yeah.
And that was always my animal, my dog.
Yeah,
It's a big
I don't
dog.
see why not. I mean, use all the things that are, whatever you feel that's going to help protect your circle and keep the yuckies away, then call them in. I don't see a problem with that. But just make sure that you are calling something in, and I'm glad we could help Cassandra with that. So now she'll know. What are you doing, hon? So anyway, okay.
She was talking about a spirits animal, so I was doing the expected.
Oh, okay. I'm like, what are we doing, hon? I still don't. Oh, there it is.
Expecto Patronum.
Oh, your animals, yeah. I'm like, what is that gif? I'm like, okay. So I want
That's
to.
the dog one, since she mentioned it was a dog for her.
I want to move on to. Then we invite our guests of honor is our Lord and our Lady. Now there's several ways you can do this. If you the high priest and the high priestess want to be the vessel, then and that's what we do. We invoke within ourselves, and then practice the whatever the teaching is or the ritual or whatever it is. There are circles that just evoke, which is inviting them into the circle but not being the actual vessel, but their energy is felt. Does that make sense, you guys?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like saying, hey, I'm holding Hecate. I'm her right now, and I'm going to teach in this circle and run this ritual as Hecate, as her, whatever she feels needs to be done. Or she's going to be in the circle. Her energy will be in the circle, but I'm still going to just be Lola and not have her in me. That sounds so dirty.
And that gets a lot more into next week's discussion.
Yeah. But again, before you invite those guests of honors to your home, to your circle, you got to make sure that you've got your bodyguards, you've got your everything cleaned, and candles in my personal practice. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, evoke versus invoke. So that's what that was. So
Cool.
do anyone work both ways, evoke and invoke? Do you not? Some people don't invite deities. They might invite something else. I don't know. I want to hear, is there something else that you invite? Sometimes it's generic. We just invite the Lord and the Lady, because sometimes we're not working with particular deities. There's all deities. There's all different ways, but I'd like to hear from you people what you do in your practice. Who do you invite as the main guest?
Depends on the situation.
Yeah, we don't always just work. Yes, our patron and patroness, God and Goddess, are Pan and Hecate, but
We've worked with plenty of
we invite many other deities in, depending on what kind of ritual we're doing. We had a ritual where Zeta invoked Lilith, and her husband Lysander invoked Lucifer, and that might have been one of the most powerful rituals we've had. We had one where Morrigan invoked the Spider Woman,
Spider Goddess,
the Spider
Queen,
the Spider Goddess, and my husband got to actually just invoke a spider. That was very interesting. We even brought a can of Raid, because one of our coven sisters is deathly afraid of spiders, so we put a can of Raid on the altar for her.
I stayed away from her.
Brilliant. But that's brilliant. That's what you do. You gotta, prepare your house for,
And everyone needs to be comfortable. We don't want anyone feeling uncomfortable. And our coven sister at the time, she hates spiders. It's complete arachnophobia. So I wanted to honor that. So she brought Raid, and I said, yeah, put it on the altar. That's your way that you can work with this.
But we told her she was not allowed to spray it.
Yeah, she couldn't spray it, obviously.
I was not getting that shit in my face.
We've had Aphrodite. We've had Hestia. We've had Hera and Zeus. We've had Apollo, Hermes.
We've had Bridget and Cernunnos.
Cernunnos.
We've had Lou.
Yeah, you worked with a lot. We've worked with Isis.
Yep.
So we're very open to bringing in someone. Apollo and Hecate are your most common guests. Yeah, Pan and Hecate are.
We've had Dionysus a few times.
We've had Dionysus quite a bit, even when we don't purposely try to invoke him.
He's like, I'm here.
Dionysus.
He's evoked in our group more often.
He's evoked.
Yeah, you don't. He's not really someone you want to invoke.
Oh yes, you do.
Oh yeah, you do. I've invoked Dionysus.
No.
Oh, okay. He's a fun one to invoke.
We love invoking Dionysus.
But no, we
the Greek Pantheon.
Yeah.
He's been coming. Yeah, Michelle and I were having a conversation about Dionysus. He's a really fun one to work with when you want to just let go.
I'm actually going to be working with him this weekend for
Beltane. Yeah, we've got a Dionysus thing planned, so we're very excited. Anyone else who they brought? I've noticed Invokia building at Llamas monologues will be my first time. Sammy. Yay!
Well, you'll have to let us know how that goes for you. We'd be very interested to hear that.
Well, Llamas we're thinking is online, so I'm thinking of doing it. You'll probably be at work. But I'll probably get to. I haven't decided who I'm going to do for. I've been seriously, just between this and whoever's watching, I've been seriously considering Aphrodite. Because I need to work with her, and
I'm okay with this.
But we'll see. I have a lot of hang-ups. A lot.
Well, if you have any questions, we'd be more than happy to help you along the way.
Yeah.
We are both very good at invocations and very comfortable with it.
Yeah. Invocations are come very naturally to us in our coven, for all different kinds of reasons. We have different backgrounds of working with that kind of energy. So then you do your stuff, which we're going to talk about next week. We're going to talk about actual ritual. So, you do whatever.
Mhm.
And then it's time to say goodnight. It's time to close, or it's time to shut it down, but actually open it up, which is so weird. It's a weird concept. So what we do, and other traditions I've seen, is we then say goodnight to the Lord and Lady, or the God and Goddess, whoever's there first. They get to go, because they're like, they're like, we're here, we had a great time, great dinner, but we got to go. So we say goodbye, we devoke, and then how we do it,
We let the guardians go back.
we dismiss the guardians, but we go,
We unzip. So
we go Widdershins.
So we start with the last one.
So we start in the north and say goodbye to the north, and then we go back to the west, say goodbye to the west, then say goodbye to the south, then say goodbye to the east. We also do the banishing.
We do the invocation pentagrams and the banishing pentagrams.
Oh yeah, and I didn't even talk about the pentagrams. Some people do the pentagrams to welcome. So we have the invoking pentagrams that we do, and then we have the banishing pentagrams that we do. I know that in the school, I'm not sure with the Ys, but I know in the school that they still go
the same way.
Deosil, and they use the same pentagram. Is that correct?
The same directionals of the pentagram, because they're all.
Yeah. Is that correct to the students that are in the school right now? It's been a while. I can't remember. I mostly aimed at Sammy and I believe Michelle, who are students. Yes. Okay, that's what I thought. There's different schools of thought on that. I was taught that everything goes backwards to send the energy, to take it back. But I know the school has a different school of thought on that. The school has a different school, get it? Is you don't want to undo what you've done. So they want to keep that going Deosil. 25 years the way we do it is you go the opposite way.
Yeah. At the end and then end at the beginning. So
yeah. So it's different at the school. They keep it still going the same direction. And I understand the reasoning. They don't want to undo. But again, it's what works. It's what works for you.
Yep.
What's most comfortable.
And teaching wise, that would be easier in a school setting in that sense, because you have people coming in and out at different times, so it'd be very easy just to maintain the same.
There's more consistency, but they actually do have a reason behind it.
Oh yeah.
So again, that is how we do it. We say bye to everyone, and then
we close the circle.
Open the circle.
Okay. We
see.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, and then we open the circle back up. So what I call it is unzipping, and we start back in the east. And we just go Widdershins. Now, does anyone know? I'm making sure you guys know Deosil and Widdershins. Is there anyone here that has a question about that? Because we've been using those words. Anyone? Everyone knows what that is? Okay.
Because we like to use the word Widdershins.
We love the word Widdershins. I think it's the best word in the world. I love that word. And some people say Deosil or Dosol. I've heard Dosol. We say Deosil, Widdershins. Deosil, yeah. And then we go back. So then we don't say anything as we're unzipping the circle. Some people might. It's silent, and we basically unzip the sphere-like tent and open it back up to the mundane world. And then that's why we say the circle is open but never broken. Merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again. May the gods preserve the craft as the craft preserves the gods. And then we do our own little woo!
But that's very specific to ours.
That's us. That's what we do. Our coven, we do a big old woo!
And it's funny because when we have people from the public see us do it, they're looking at us like, what the heck?
What are they doing? Did they just make a touchdown?
Oh, that's brilliant.
Oh,
That's awesome.
see, Yeah, Michelle, same thing. When I was going to the school, I was in my first coven, and I did it for coven work was coven school. I did the way the school did it. So it was sometimes I'd get confused with the north and the east thing. I would accidentally call one when I was, but it seemed to work out okay.
Well, and they understand because people, practice in their private circles, solitaries. Sammy dropped out. And so they understand. You just got to remind them, hey, and they're like, oh yeah, we forgot you use this at home. So
yeah,
just remember when you're at school, please use this.
Welcome back, Sammy. We're just closing. So, all right. Well, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and put the image in the chat so you can all download that image.
And like usual, if you aren't able to download it, let us know by putting your email in the chat, and we will get one emailed to you.
Cool. Can I ask one more question?
Yes,
So when you're closing your circle before you let your guardians go,
Mm-hmm.
you don't thank specifically thank each guardian. You don't offer them anything.
We thank them for attending these rites. We don't have a particular closing. We actually just kind of we improvise saying goodbye to the guardians.
Because a lot of times it would be appropriate for whatever that night's ritual or activity was. So we thank them of how they contributed to that activity.
So whatever the activity we did in the ritual. So let's say we did an elevation like we just did a few nights ago.
Last night.
So when we say goodbye, we thank them for being present and welcoming our new third degree. We thank them for guiding us through this or whatever it is. So like, guardians of the watchtowers of the north, spirits of earth, we thank you for being here and guiding us with your stability and your permanence and welcoming Silenus Stardust as our third degree high priest. By the way, he's now a third degree. It just happened last night. Yay!
Thank you. I've been excited and waiting for this, and it's awesome.
It's pretty awesome. So I know the school and the wise, they have something that you say when you say goodbye, and that's great. That's awesome too. We only use a certain script to welcome them, but when we say goodbye, it's more personalized because it's reflecting on what did we just do, and how did they contribute to that energy. So if we worked with herbs in the circle, we could say, thank you, East, for lending your knowledge of herbs, or thank you, Earth, for providing the herbs, or
thank you, Sun, or thank you, Fire, for providing the sun that allows
grew
herbs
the
to grow,
herbs, or whatever.
And thank you, West, for providing the water to allow them to grow.
Yes, that's a good example, herbs.
Yeah.
So that's we just kind of wing it. Does anyone not able to get the image downloaded?
Find it.
Sammy, okay, we have your email.
I got your email. Sandra's got it. Anyone else that needs? Brat, you raised your hand?
No, I'm trying to save the picture.
Oh, okay. If you click on it,
I'm sorry.
It's okay. If you click on it, you should be able to right click. No, that's copy image, which you could copy into a folder.
No, I think I got it.
You got it?
Yeah. Oh,
okay, good. Cool.
I'm sorry.
Sammy's the only one that needs
the email.
The email. Okay. All right, and we're gonna do our. Oh, good. Daniel got yours. Okay. All right, so here we go with our little closing thing. Hey, son of a biscuit! Why did it do that?
Controls.
Wait. Okay. I'm just gonna do undo.
Okay.
Son of a biscuit!
Balls.
Balls. All right. If we have helped facilitate a spiritual experience for you today, I do not know why I'm using this voice.
We are very British.
Please consider donating to Children of the Crossroads, ATC, to help fund events like this. Your gifts of any amount are greatly appreciated, and donations may be tax deductible, as Children of the Crossroads ATC is a 501c3 nonprofit. We've got PayPal links, we got Venmo. Like I said, not a necessity or a requirement, but if you can donate, please do. If not, we still love you. All right.
Start those days.
How to be Sammy. All right. We are not going to have divination night tonight because I am a grumpy Gus and I just want to go and eat some food and watch Netflix. So
She wants a Netflix and chill.
So
Nothing wrong with that.
I'm going to stop the recording. Wave goodbye, everyone, to the recording. Bye, recording.
Bye, recording.